Hey everybody, welcome back to Case 17 Reactions. I am your host Jimmy, and today I am going south of the border down to Mexico and the band The Warning. The Warning is a band that you guys introduced me to, and I think I have reacted to maybe 3 or so songs of theirs so far. So I'm excited to get back into them. The song we're doing today is actually 2 songs in this live performance from the Pepsi Arena, Dust to Dust and Dull Knives. So if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please consider subscribing. Also hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Everything would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let me get my headphones and let us get into The Warning. Here we go.
Show
find a place to pause here. I didn't want to pause because I was enjoying the lyrics, and a couple times I started to pause. I realized we were going into solo, so didn't want to interrupt that too because I know people don't like when you. I personally don't like when I see reactors cut off right in the middle of a solo. One thing that I remember from past videos that I recorded is the joy and the happiness that these three sisters portray. And what I mean by that is they just look like they're having a blast, that they want to be there, that they're doing what they want to do. And I really think as a fan, seeing the acts act that way or be that way means a lot to me as a fan. That means that it's telling me that I'm important. It's not just something they're doing because they have to do it, it's their living or whatever, but they actually really enjoy what they're doing. So enjoyed that first song. Some of the lyrics I couldn't make out, but the chorus, dust to dust, turn to rust, I think, or back to rust, kind of gave me a similar feeling to Dust in the Wind by Kansas. Kind of at least what I got from it, a similar message. We're only here for a certain amount of time. We came from the earth and we'll go back to the earth. But anyway, like that first song, let's get into the transition to the second song here. Wow, that second song seemed to go by a lot faster. Back in my teens, and so I grew up my teenage years through the '80s, and I consider myself a '80s. The '70s and '80s to me is when the greatest music was played. And back then, I listened to more pop, soft rock, ballads, power ballads, and not as much of the harder stuff. Now, I don't know what genre the genres are considered nowadays. Um, Back in the day, I would have considered this under the genre of hard rock. And I wasn't a huge hard rock fan, but there were certain groups that I did enjoy listening to. And it just comes down to how much effort they put into the singing over the instruments, if that makes any sense. If it was just just hard, loud guitars, loud drums, loud everything, and you could really barely hear them or really not make out anything that they were saying. I hope that makes some sense. That kind I didn't like really as much. But this type of music that the Warning has is the type of hard rock that I would have listened to back in the day. And let me not end this before I say something about the instrumentals. Um, I have huge praise for anybody that can play an instrument. Um, I'm going to put out a video here in the near future, but on October 3rd of this year, in July of this year, I found out who my biological father is. I'm 56 years old now and just now finding out. And October the 3rd is the first time I met him, and we had an immediate bond, and I already have a good relationship um, between me, his wife. I've got two younger sisters now. The youngest being younger than my six kids, so she has six nieces and nephews that are older than her. But anyway, saying all that, he was a musician back in the '70s, '80s, and on. Um, Not on the scale of some of these main acts that you hear over the years, um, but in his own right, a good musician. And one of the first things he asked me was I a musician? And I hated to tell him that I have a hard time playing the radio. There is things I've always wanted to learn. I have absolutely no rhythm. Maybe you can tell it just by my watching the videos and everything, but uh, it kind of jumped over me and went to one of my sons actually, who sat down at the piano around 14 years old and just started playing because he can hear something and he can replicate it. But it definitely jumped over me. So the fact that I don't have that talent, that has always made me really look up to people who do have that talent even more. And, you know, these three sisters have it in spades. So I enjoyed these songs. I hope you enjoyed the journey with me. Again, if you like what I'm doing here, please hit that like button. Also subscribe. Leave me some comments. I greatly appreciate all of that. And let me just encourage you that if you are struggling with any mental health issues, I just feel like some people may think it's redundant hearing me talk about this all the time, but this is really important. There are people out there who have issues that they are struggling with, and they think that they're alone. They think that there's nobody out there that can help them. And I am somebody at 56 years old. I have spent almost 50 years of my life suffering with depression, ultimately PTSD, and some other things. And I know how I have isolated myself a lot of my life when it comes to my problems, talking about them, and so forth. And so it's just very important to me to let you guys know that if you are struggling with things, please know that there are people out there who care about you, who will talk to you, who will try to help you through things. It may be family, it may be friends, it may be complete strangers, it may be pastors or psychiatrists or doctors or whoever. But I guarantee you that if you look, there are people out there that will care and that will give you the help that you need. Please take that encouragement, and please understand that it's coming from somebody who had the same issues, and even occasionally still feel like I have the same issues. So, saying all that, I love you guys, I appreciate you guys, and until next time.